King needs to finish up so I can stop looking at Bronny's freaking face.
And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week. Wherever you get your podcasts, just want to let you know I dropped the latest episode of What's Going On with the Pop Culture Cosmos just earlier today, so go ahead and check it out. We cover on the latest show the Tokyo Game Show. Also, as well, we talk about the 30th anniversary PlayStations that are hot off the presses. They came out and instantly sold and now are available for thousands of dollars on eBay. So we talk about all that, plus what's going on in the gaming world on this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. Upcoming, or if you've watched it on YouTube, I've got a State of Pro Wrestling coming at you here for our audio listeners later this week. So Pop Culture Cosmos is the deal. Inside Sports Fantasy Football, that's also coming up this week. We're back. Chris Ardieri, hopefully, Joe Soro, hopefully, and I will talk about what's going on in the world of fantasy football. Go ahead and check it out this week on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Also, as well, of course, the Lakerholics crew, Jamie Sweet, Laker Tom, Michael Heinrich. You know they're excited because training camp is tomorrow. Media day was today. Go ahead and check out what they're doing at Lakerholics.com. Big shout out to John Costa. He's been very busy. Him and I, we talked today. He plans some stuff coming down the pike for his channels, Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Big shout out to them. Go ahead and make sure you like and subscribe there. And speaking of liking and subscribing, our great subscribers, including our members. Want to give a big shout out to all of our members today. If you are part of the members, you get all the inside knowledge of when we're going to go on the air, plus little things behind the scenes, including what I did as far as the Mr. McMahon review going there early, even more stuff, including emojis, badges, and a whole bunch of good stuff if you are part of what we're doing. It's a membership program, $2.99 a month. Intel Wild, Samir, JSJ, Kurt, Darren, Sports Baby, Richard, Bloodhound, and Xbox know what it's all about. So become a member today for just $2.99 a month. Plus also as well, of course, our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, who was back and forth on last night's show with Joe. Also as well, of course, our good friends right there as far as Lakers in 5. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, John McCallion channel, all these great places you got to go and check out and like and subscribe. And speaking of liking and subscribing, like and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. As Intel said in the comments for us members, father and son together. Isn't that what is most important? Family being together. And we got a great deal of that for today. A lot of the media sharing all the pictures from Media Day earlier today. But what was said during Lakers Media Day? We will go ahead and discuss that. Some of the good stuff that we were interested in, and then a lot of the fluff and some of the SMH moments for me as courtside Lakers Henry. He pointed out so astutely on our Lakers Fast Break email. So go ahead and make sure you check out what we're doing today for our thoughts on Lakers Media Day indeed. But great to have you here. Looking forward to having a great show. Please like and subscribe. It is really in your best interest to do so. We're shooting towards 2,000 subscribers on the way from all of us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Here today to discuss the highs and lows of Media Day for the Lakers and the NBA. We'll go ahead into some detail about that as well. Good man indeed. He is, of course, the mastermind behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com, and of course, Simblades with a Y.com. Rocking the great outfit already with the Lakers. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. It was Family Picture Day, Lakers Media Day. I'll be going ahead and re-quoting some of the quotes that was made during today's show, but you said you would skip a lot of it. It concerned LeBron and Bronny, but unfortunately, that was a great bit of the Lakers media day as well, Joe.
Yeah, it was a mix of good here and there, and then just kind of mundane after that. Questions were interestingly boring. What would you say defined the summer since nothing happened?
Crickets.
What was the most important story of the Lakers during this off season?
Well, I mean, for us that are true Lakers fans, it would be Dalton Connect getting drafted. But for the media, we all know what that is, Joe.
No, wrong on both ends.
Well,
Did you all
for me,
forget about the Dan Hurley fiasco?
I'd like to forget about the Dan Hurley fiasco.
Well, we all would like to forget it, but it was the most important story of the Lakers. Now, that's not a compliment. That's just what happened.
Darren, I'm not wrong. That's his opinion. I think I'm right. So you are incorrect, Darren, on that.
That's why it's better. I
stated, no, hold on. As I stated yesterday, absolutely no one has been more right on this channel than me. It's actually on the internet. So, Joe, shut up. Okay, it's all right there. I have been right more often on this channel than anyone, verbatim, point blank, period. So, Darren, I don't know where you're talking about. You've been watching this channel, and and you hate it when I'm right, and I'm right all the damn time. So, Joe's opinion and my opinion differ greatly. So, what he says is right is not right. It's right to him, but not right to me. Okay. I picked the Lakers to go all the way as far as in the bubble on the air on this channel in 2020, and they did. I said point blank that the Russell Westbrook trade was a bad trade right from the get-go. Even this guy next to me thought it was a good trade at the beginning. So don't give me that crap.
What are we talking about? Something that happened 3 years ago?
Darren's coming up. Darren's blowing some stuff out.
He's correct.
He's incorrect.
He's 100% correct.
He is 100%
I
incorrect.
agree with him 100. If there was more than 100%,
I disagree with it. It's all on the internet. It's all on this channel.
If life was 101%, it would be 101%.
No, it would be, because I am right more times than anyone on this channel. It's just point blank. It's documented. It's on this channel. You guys hate it when I'm right. You all go and just, I love Joe, love when he screams and yells and all that. But when he's wrong, which he's wrong every now and then, he is, and I'm more right than him. You guys don't acknowledge it, and you guys don't like it. So deal with it. You guys just hate it when I'm right more often than you guys are.
We talk about Planet Delusional, and
you live on Planet. You've got a home base on Planet Delusional, sir. That's what you have. So get back to the thing. Okay, I'm right.
You all right? You need a drink? Why don't you go get some chocolate milk? Calm down a little bit.
I already had some. Too late.
Good for you. Okay, so let's get back to
no, Darren. It's documented. If you make the accusation and you're wrong,
by the way, I still don't know what the hell you guys are talking about.
Well, Darren's just talking a whole bunch of stuff that's incorrect. Good. He hates it because of the fact he's been doing this for months now and months, and he cannot stand it when I'm right. Okay, I am all right on this channel more often than anyone on this channel.
You're going to tell me what the hell you guys were talking about, because I'm still in the dark.
Right, because you never pay attention to the chat. So that's
because I'm reading my notes because we have a show to do.
Mm-hmm. Guys hate it when I'm sorry. It's deal with it. I am more right than anyone on this channel. It's documented and it's on
finished. Can I go now?
I got over 1,100 episodes to tell me I'm right. Sorry, Darren, you're wrong.
We good? Can we?
Always been good. I've always been good.
Can we turn the page?
Okay. That was bad.
Yeah.
Just like Lakers Media Day, that was bad.
I had to stop the bad with a worse thing, because that's where we got here.
Blah, 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 blah.
There's an interesting theme starting here with the Laker brass, and I had to use the word brass because you can't call the Laker brass without including the ass somewhere. And it's not an accident that the ass is at the end of that. It's just what it is.
Mhm.
And there were some good things like normal. I highly enjoy Anthony Davis in any interview. He seems very intelligent, very smart, and very engaging. Not too much of the fluff. Then you go from Anthony Davis.
Plus, he likes pro wrestling.
Good,
is always a
good,
bonus.
good. I used to like pro wrestling. Right now, it's not really.
I love it when he wears his Ric Flair T-shirt. I'm just kidding.
Liking Ric Flair in that era is different than liking whatever.
It was old school Ric Flair. That's true. So.
I don't think there's ever been an old school Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair is the same throughout the ages. But that's my observation, and I'm going to be right on that one anyways. The key here is
no. Let's talk about the WWE flight from hell, but we will go there.
What is?
I think I'm
what
right.
Did you get out of today's media day? What did we get? I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm talking about we as the observers of this product. We got a lot of talk from the new head coach about how he's engaging and we're all on the same page and we've discussed the situation. Very eloquent, very professional, very professor-like. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Since we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, we'll roll with the communication there. I think AD looked like a very happy person. Good for him. I like listening to him. And then we had to then kind of shift over to, let's say, Rui. Rui's always pretty professional, pretty calm, pretty nice. Dalton Connect sported one of the best tan lines I think I've seen since Playboy mattered back in the day, and maybe even Sports Illustrated. And then what else? I fast forward through the LeBron Bronny thing, like I said I would. Didn't really want to listen to anything. By the way, I don't know what the hell that mop top was on his head, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And then we'll talk about some of the minimal guys. Mr. Max Christie, I guess, spoke pretty well. We'll see what that results in here shortly. Jared Vanderbilt, I think, probably was the most noticeable, and maybe Cam Reddish in terms of guys that looked like they didn't want to be there. They looked like they were brought there as prisoners of war. My question is, where was Dalton Connect?
He was there.
Did I miss him in
yes,
any
he
interviews?
did. He was in a session with Bronny James. They put the rookies together at the same time.
And they both spoke? Because I must have missed that one.
Yeah, they both spoke.
Okay. So, yes, so I was able to watch probably about an hour out of the 2 hours of it. Got little tidbits here and there. I didn't get anything out of the discussions other than this team seems to believe that a lot of the players seem to have felt that like they were held back by Darvin Ham. One of them happened to be your favorite player, Mr. Lewis, and the other was D'Angelo. It's a joke. Relax. It's a joke. It's sarcasm. Okay.
But you have not yet mastered, but anyways.
Oh, I'm the master of disaster. You know I can turn it up.
You've created disaster.
I can turn it up, and then you'll do that little pussy ass thing where you'll cut me off.
Your public relations disaster.
Public relations. I got a great public. I got 5 stars all over the internet. What are you talking about?
Oh, talk about the emails I got when you originally came on the show.
Those people. I don't give a shit about those people.
That's why right there.
Shit, I've got a good one. 1,800 people here.
I've got a good one that at
I got 1,800 people here that vouch for me. I
got a good one. I got a good one at the end of the show that singled you out directly.
Who?
I'll tell you later.
Who's gonna single me out to my face, though? See, that's the question.
It wasn't to your face.
Who's gonna come on the show and say it to my face?
Well, no,
anybody can do this. Anyone can do this. Can you come on the show and tell it to my face? That's the question you should be asking.
Let's talk about the media day first, and then get back to the
media day sucked. Half the people looked like they didn't want to be there. Why is that? Why is that? Why?
I don't like meeting with the media.
Well, it shouldn't be about the media. It should be about the first day of the new season coming. I've
But
seen
they've
a
already
lot of
been
media
playing.
days
They've
where
already
people are
been,
excited.
but they've already been working out extensively at UCLA Health Center, aka where the Lakers are, for a while now.
These guys are all millionaires playing a kid's game. Why wouldn't they be excited?
Well, when they do it for 10, 20 years, in the case of LeBron, it's.
I'm not talking about that schlep. I'm talking about everybody else.
I'm not talking about that schlep. Okay. So that's what he is now. Okay. All right.
Is that going to be another thing you say with, I told you?
Darren said, did you hear Worthy tell D'Lo he played good defense last year? Yeah.
James has a habit of bullshitting. So let's continue without interruptions. The Lakers look like they have a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of optimism. And I was going back and forth on whether I wanted to drop the Molotov bomb or bottle or whatever on this thing. And I'm not. I'm going to wait. And I'm even going to give the Lakers a month, which I kind of told you already, but I'm going to give them a month to see how they react, how they adapt, how they communicate. But my assessment today is that they still didn't ask the right questions, which we kind of knew they wouldn't. They didn't address a lot of what happened this summer. I would like to know a little bit more about why and what. But maybe they didn't want to talk about it because they didn't want to insult JJ Redick. It's okay for JJ Redick to insult everybody, but it's no good to insult JJ Redick, right? Okay. And of course, this Family Matters situation that we're going to have to endure before we can actually start worrying about winning games. I'm going to try my best to try and navigate through that like I navigated it through today. And of course, the Dodgers doing their thing here, hopefully in the next month, hopefully bringing a championship will probably help me kind of, I don't know, soothe me a little bit until.
Empire Jeff says Rob has addressed this summer multiple times already. And we've already addressed Rob addressing the lack of activity this summer several times already as well.
He addressed what? What did he address?
The inactivity, as far as is concerned, once because that keeps getting brought up to him, and as
by the way, they said that they need a center with some girth.
Finally, they admit to something. When you're really bad at both the offensive and defensive rebounds, yeah, you could say that could be a need right there. But one of the things I did want to say that made me shake my head was when you said Anthony Davis, very well spoken as in regards to what he talked about, what he wanted to do, the things that he wanted to accomplish this season, plus his conversations with JJ on becoming a more prominent individual. I know that was meant in the comments is that he was rated as the top number 2 on any team in the NBA, and that obviously whatever taken to heart as far as him getting a more prominent role with LeBron getting older. And we've heard this story before, Joe, but the thing that irked me the most was that he'd spoken to JJ, and JJ inferred that he should go and continue to be out into the top of the key, continue to try and take more threes, and continue to facilitate the offense from there, instead of having AD down low where he's most proficient. Again, I just think they're missing the boat, Joe. The more threes you have him take as a 28% career shooter, and again, sorry, Darren, I was right on that, as I proved all season long. Don't let AD shoot threes. It is not advisable. But that's what JJ told him he wants him to do.
Doesn't that remind you of somebody else? Didn't somebody else say that once? That coached the Lakers?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between, I think the only difference between JJ Redick right now and Darvin Ham is JJ Redick is more eloquent when he answers questions versus Darvin Ham, who sounded like a punch drunk boxer. So are we switching to sweet mouth from sour mouth? Will that result in W's? And will the excuse machine continue? When will the excuse machine? And Empire Jeff, if you're watching, listen to this, because this is very important for you to listen. When things don't work out, doesn't matter if it's basketball, the Lakers, Dodgers, whatever, the excuse machines will come out. They're always out there. And then you start analyzing it, especially after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, after 8 years. And you start hearing the same excuse over and over and over again. Oh, it's the coach. Oh, it's not enough talent. Oh, it's injuries. Oh, this guy didn't mesh. It's like an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. Let's take it back a little. Let's talk about the three-peat Lakers. At the time, and I know this is weird for a lot of people who weren't watching it at the time. We have a lot of youngsters on here. It was really Shaq and Kobe and the other guys. And that sounds weird because I thought very highly of Horry and Fox and Fisher and those guys. But those guys were not good at being able to score. They just weren't. It was really Shaq and Kobe scoring, and those guys played their roles. And you had a lot of drama between Kobe and Shaq, and you had drama with Phil Jackson, and you had all these things going on, yet they kept winning. You look at the Bulls during their 2 3-peat runs. They had massive, massive issues with management, massive issues, and yet they still won. There weren't any excuses. Coaches weren't fired during those runs. We weren't getting passive-aggressive tweets, or let's just say at that time, passive-aggressive quotes. Everything was direct. So you go from that, and then you fast forward to now, and you see, and I see people my age who, just like Darvin Ham turned into a whatever this generation is, started enabling this generation's mentality. And what's expanded in this new generation is excuses. It's very hard to have a discussion with someone who continues to use excuses. I'm still going to have it because I have enough energy to deal with it, because you're not going to beat me in that department. You'll get tired after a while. I will tire your ass out because I know the information and I don't care, and I'm wired for it. So the bottom line is, when you have talent, i.e. Anthony Davis and LeBron James, I've said this how many times, and LeBron James is still playing well, folks. Or do you conveniently say, oh, well, he's 39. But you don't say he's 39 when he drops 36, 7, and 9. But when he drops 22 and doesn't run back on defense, oh, he doesn't have any help. All this and all that. Can't have both. Now you're becoming the excuse machine. So fast forward. We are now in the J.J. Redick coaching era, the 4th coach in 5 years. Is that right? Four coaches in 5 years?
Yes.
Or 6 years?
Yeah, I'd say 6. I think it's 6.
So now, what have we heard? We've heard better delivery on interviews. But we're hearing the same tune. Well, we want Anthony Davis to shoot threes. A 28% career three-point shooter. You want him to be shooting threes. And by the way, you have a team that can't fucking rebound, and you want to take the one guy that can away from the basket? Do you want a layup line on every missed shot by your opponent? Did anyone ask J.J. Redick that question? JJ, and I'm not going to be like this to JJ if I was there. I'd be like, Coach, let me ask you a question. You just said that you want Anthony Davis to shoot more threes. That is what happened, right? Or did I hear that wrong?
No, it was inferred.
Gerald, you're always right, right? You're 100%?
Not
Is that what
always
he
right,
said?
but I'm right more than anyone on this
Is
channel.
that what he said? I'm asking you a question.
Yes, that's what he
Okay.
said.
JJ Riddick, you just said, according to Gerald Glassford, who saw it and who's always right, you said that you want Anthony Davis to be shooting more threes. Okay. Observe that comment. Now I'm interviewing JJ Riddick. I'm going to retort with a question. JJ, Anthony Davis is a 28% career three-point shooter. This particular Laker team does not really have any other player on its roster that is a consistent rebounder. Your main issue last year was rebounding, especially offensive rebounding. How are you going to improve that area without roster construction to that? And then also moving the one player that can actually rebound on your team away from the basket. Won't that create more offensive rebounds for your opponent? And in turn, getting more points for the opponent? What do you think the answer would be there?
Same
And
one
why
that
didn't
was
anybody
last
ask that question? That is a important question. Media people who are getting paid six figures. No, James Worthy, whom I love to death. What the hell is he talking about? With D'Lo playing good, he did not play good defense. If anything, Austin Reeves played a little bit better in the playoffs. That's it. Why did no one ask JJ Riddick, why do you think it's a good idea for Anthony Davis to shoot more threes when you are going to draw him away from the basket and create more offensive rebounds, which is what killed you last year?
I'm letting you continue.
Somebody in the forum or you answer that question. Tell me what you think that guy would answer in that question. And tell me why no one asked that question. That is the biggest highlight of today's media day. And what that is you go into an interview, you go into a show, and you are prepared, you've got an outline, and you got it going. However, the great ones listen. They listen to what's going on, and then when they hear something that needs to be addressed, that's not scripted, you need to be quick in asking that question. What are you thinking? Moving your only rebounder away from the basket on offense to shoot from an area that he has never shot well at. Do we not know something that Anthony Davis did this summer? Could he have said something if that was the case? Maybe ask that question. Is Anthony Davis dropping 1,000 three-pointers during the summer that we didn't know about? Is that why he was so peppy and happy? And how are you going to know that's going to translate practice in the summer when the games matter? Nothing. We got nothing. Yet the excuse machines keep telling us things like, let's wait. Let's do this. Okay, let's wait. That's fine. That one, I'll buy into that one. But right now, the evidence, folks, facts and things that happen and evidence matter in life. Facts. This is a Dodger Cup. This is not a Laker Cup. No matter how much you want to call it a Laker Cup, it's a Dodger Cup. You know the difference? This is a Laker shirt. No matter how you feel. So, I want to know. I want an assessment from our crowd, from you. What the hell is the logic of taking your talent away from the one thing you need to do something that's not there? And it's never been there. And how many years has Mr. Anthony Davis played in the league? Since 2012? This is 2024, and it's going to be 2025. So let's hope he has a renaissance there like Brook Lopez did, because Brook Lopez broke the mold. He broke the mold. He turned into a three-point shooter and a defender late in his career, and I would have never guessed it. So maybe Anthony Davis will be that guy. Maybe Anthony Davis will start shooting threes like Brook Lopez did late in his career. Why not? Why wouldn't Anthony Davis do it? But can you tell us? Can you say something like, well, folks, I know you're probably not going to really get this, but we believe that
you're awesome.
He's trained enough this summer to be viable from that area.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching.
You're awesome.
Truly appreciate it. Intel Wild, as always, you come through for us. Truly appreciate you gifting out the memberships. $2.99 a month gets you emojis, badges, and more from all of us here at the Lakers Fast
You're
Break.
awesome.
Truly appreciate it. Joe, I know we already discussed about Anthony Davis, and obviously needs to play a bigger role, even bigger than and larger than the role he's already playing. Another Laker that took center stage during the course of media day was Max Christie. A lot of people were pointing out that he's put on 5 or 10 pounds of strength.
Awesome.
He's talked about his time in the weight room. In fact, several of the Lakers actually talked about their time, in case of Dalton Connects, needing more time in the weight room. You always hear this, though, during the course of the media days. They go ahead, they lose a little weight here, they gain a little bit of strength there. They made sure to try to work on their shot here. It all sounds good. These sound bites sound great leading into the season, but then we get into actual play. When it comes right down to it, though, Joe, Max Christie understands, at least from what he's saying out there today, and talking about how nothing is acceptable outside of a championship, that he understands that now that he's here on a 4-year deal that he just signed, that he has to make a leap forward for the Lakers to get to that area as a world champion.
It's a tall order.
It is.
It's a tall order. He would have to be solidified this year. I'm talking the kind of player that you're watching. Let's say Austin Reeves gets into early foul trouble, and then Max has to come in, and you're not worried. He has to be that guy. And then you'll have a better roster immediately if everything else is the same, because you now have a young.
Okay. We lost Joe right in the middle of what we were talking about here. There you go, Joe. Lost you.
You're getting that player that is contributing in an important way. The other thing you have to look at is this going to sustain itself for an 82-game season plus the playoffs? Is he in shape to deal with that? Is he mentally ready for that? Is he mature enough for that? It's not just the regular season. It's not just playing basketball. It's dealing with the pressures of LA, dealing with the travel, dealing with once you do get, let's say, to the playoffs, how are you going to handle the elite, especially the position that Max Christie plays? Almost all of the elite players in his position are a problem. And it doesn't matter if it's a superstar guarding them. That's why they're a problem. What am I missing here?
Intel and Xbox are gifting out memberships.
You're awesome.
Why is that funny?
Everyone in the chat. Thank you. My show started off on a bad note, and
you're
now
awesome.
You guys have picked me up with your actions now, so I truly appreciate it.
You want some flowers or some candy?
No, a Kit Kat would be cool, but yeah. Are you a Kit Kat guy or a Three
Kit Kat
Musketeers
changed
guy?
when they got rid of the foil.
Okay. Well, I'd had some from overseas recently. It was really good because they love Kit Kat overseas.
I used to love Kit Kats 20 years ago. I don't know what they did, but it seemed like as soon as they got rid of that tinfoil off of it, the taste of it changed.
Do you like Three Musketeers? I used to love Three Musketeers.
Yes, I used to eat the chocolate.
Good man. See,
I used to eat the chocolate.
Joe and I can agree on something. Yeah. Xbox like, do you know what's in a Kit Kat, guys? I don't think I want to.
These days, not good stuff.
Yeah, not good
Before
stuff.
they used to just have chocolate and some cracker stuff in it, but God knows what they do now.
Exactly. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. It was your turn.
I was just going to say, with Lakers Media Day, again, before we get to the main issue that everybody was talking about as far as the media is concerned, again, the focus for the Lakers and the Lakers fans were what's going on with Vando, what's going on with Christian Wood, what are the opinions of some of the Lakers and what they think they can do as far as getting playing time. And some of it was hilarious, like listening to Cam Reddish for 5 minutes was hilarious on what he wants to go ahead and do and accomplish. He's talking about all the things that he needs to improve on and work on and that he's going to do. Then we see the product out on the floor. And as someone who I didn't even want on the team in the first place, and I was telling people that on this show, but again, he's here now and he's just got to go ahead and be able to do what he needs to do. But JHS feeling healthy now after rehabilitating from his back surgery in March earlier, as far as during the course of Lakers Media Day. He mentioned being impressed with his development in the offseason. JJ Redick was. All these superlatives. JJ Redick talked to me, so encouraged by my development. He's this, he's that. JHS says, I'm feeling great now and ready to go into camp tomorrow and make an impact so he can become MVP of this year's camp like he was with last year's camp. And we saw how that one went. I do want to go ahead and be a little bit more positive before we get into the injuries. I do want to say that Dalton Connect did talk about some right things in the brief time that he was on and talked about getting stronger, understanding what he needs to work on. You and I both, we both have a lot of positive outlook. We understand there's some issues with Dalton Connect, and I think he realizes that. But your thoughts, though, on what Dalton Connect can do for the Lakers if he actually works out well this season?
Make his shots when he's open.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not expecting him to do much else. If he can improve on his defense and his ball handling. He's shown that he makes good decisions when, let's say, he's driving to the basket and a secondary defender comes to him. Mm-hmm. He's shown that he has good timing in terms of getting the ball out of the way. Mm-hmm. Or out of his hands. Yeah. Shot making. Shot making will be his number one priority. If he can keep the opponents honest, he will go far. The only problem is we need him to be a little bit average, just average on defense, just at the very least, so that you're not shooting threes and then allowing threes on the other end.
Cool, bro. That's a wash. You're in good favor. Don't make a comment that's going to put the chat against your favor.
He's terrible.
Yeah, that's please let's not go there. But I want to go ahead and ask you, okay, one of the things that was talked about with Rui and Max and other guys who spot up in the corner, Joe, is that they're expected to crash the boards. If they're the ones that are shooting or not the ones that are shooting, they're expected to crash the offensive boards. JJ has made it imperative. Guys, anyone who's on the wing, anyone who's in the corner is expected to crash the boards. Your thoughts on this mentality for a team that was one of the worst in the NBA at the offensive rebounds last season?
They better be in shape. They better be able to handle the physicality of getting down on the block. So you have Max Christie, you have Dalton Connect. Would you say that they're bulky enough to handle the? Are they mentally strong? Some guys that are, Michael Jordan weighed 188 pounds when he came to the NBA. Kobe weighed 190, and I believe he weighed I weighed a little bit more because I think he was a half inch taller than Michael. Michael's listed at 6'6". Some have said he's actually 6'5". Kobe, I believe, is a true 6'6". But anyways, you have guys out there that might weigh less but are viciously strong. Is Max Christie that kind of guy? He hasn't shown it. I don't think he is. Can Dalton Connect make himself acclimated to the physicality of the NBA? He is a little bit older. His body's a little bit more mature. Will he hurt himself? Is his bones strong enough? Is his muscles strong enough? Because if you're going to be crashing the boards, you better be able to handle a lot of physical hits. Dennis Rodman's another skin and bone guy, but was fiercely strong and can handle all the bumps. Some guys are just made different. Their bones are made different. And then on top of that, let's say that their bones might not be made different, but their brain is made different. They just deal with the physicality.
It's funny because in the chat, Quabina is saying, that Cam Reddish, in his opinion, will revert back to the old Duke Cam Reddish, something he's never been able to put together at all for any consistent amount of time while he's been in the league. Jackson Hayes came in with a lot of hype, top 10 pick, right there with Rui, as a matter of fact, and Cam Reddish. And you look at him now, these guys are in their fifth, their sixth season. These guys have been around a while. The Ruiz, the Jackson Hayes, the Cam Reddishes. These guys are no longer young developing players, Joe. These guys are in their prime now. At what point do we just say whatever they are is what they are, and you have to go on from there? Because today, all three of them said that, the right things on what they needed to work on, what they worked on during the summer. They all said the right things, but they said them before last year as well.
Let's look at the roster again.
Do we have to?
Yeah. Let's look at it. Starters are LeBron James, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Rui, and Austin. Only LeBron in that starting lineup is a gazelle still, and he's an old gazelle that can run fast, right? Anthony Davis doesn't really run fast. He's just athletically gifted to play basketball, but he doesn't have that freakish athleticism that makes him go from the middle of the half court to the basket in 2 steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's move away from the starters. Then you have Gabe Vincent, whom isn't really athletically advanced. He's okay. Jared Vanderbilt, no sense in bringing him up. He's never available. Max Christie, is he fast? Can he get out on a break quick? Can he do a alley-oop with regularity? I don't know. I've never really seen it. I'm sure he has maybe done it a couple times, but I don't remember. Then you got Jalen Hood-Schifino, who's got the vertical of a Michael Jordan in his 60s. Dalton Connect, shooter, not really athletic freakish. Christian Wood, not available. Jackson Hayes, freakish athleticism. Freakish. But for every amazing alley-oop dunk off a pick and roll it usually results in 2 or 3 plays on the defense where he allows his man to get ahead of him and get a score.
Or is caught on the wrong side.
Correct. Basketball IQ is very, very, very underwhelming. So then you got Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish, another guy today who sounded like he was a POW who wanted to just leave. Not encouraging. And even when he is in the zone for a few games, it doesn't last long. So I'm going to expect the same there. Then we go to the G Leaguers and the guys that shouldn't be in the NBA. And I don't think I need to name anybody else after that. That's it, folks. That's the Lakers team. I'm sorry. I didn't mention our new acquisition, the one that got cut by the Toronto Raptors that everyone
Christian
thinks is
Coloco.
going to be this savior as a backup, Coloco.
He hasn't even tomorrow. No, I mean, I haven't even heard a confirmation. I'm sure the team knows the confirmation right now, but I haven't heard that there's a confirmation that he has been totally cleared to play NBA basketball. But I'm assuming if he's there, if he's practicing with the team, that the NBA has cleared him for that. So,
yeah,
I wish that would have been cleared up for media day.
I'm going to stick with my original comment and say that after Cam Reddish, you have essentially, and he's borderline too. Everyone else is a G leaguer or someone that or a player that doesn't belong in the NBA.
Injuries are still going to be a problem, Joe, to start the season. It was talked about, like you said, an individual that did not want to be there for media day, and Jared Vanderbilt, to have to talk about the surgery on both of his feet, not one foot, both of his feet, and talking about how far away he is still as far as before he gets onto an NBA court. It could be the start of the season, but that's possibly rushing him back too soon. And then you have also as well, who commented earlier today was, of course, the man on a vengeance tour, going out for vengeance this year, because it is possibly his final year in the league. We don't know. I mean, if he has a bad year, will any other team want him? I don't know. But Christian Wood also talked about his knee surgery and the fact that he's probably about 4 weeks away from getting evaluated whether or not he's ready to go ahead and get back in the mix as far as the NBA is concerned. 2 weeks, and then another 2 weeks of rehab and ramping up and things of that nature. So 4 weeks at least before it is going to be determined whether or not he's ready to go or not. So that's 2 guys there. There's probably going to need about 3 to 4 weeks or more before they will be a part of the Lakers rotation. That hurts you when you start the season like that, Joe.
Friday's the first game against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. In Palm Springs.
Is there any news that the starters won't play a little?
I'm there's no news that anybody's being sat out. That's not injured. So I don't know. Training camp. We'll know through training camp because it's coming up.
We'll let that game be the springboard to more information. We're going to get a chance to see the minuses play at least to see if they can become positives, because they're going to play hard. Max Christie, I'm assuming, is going to play hard. Dalton Connect's going to play hard. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but playing focused basketball is very easy to detect, even in a game that's meaningless. It actually shows character, and it shows of things to come. We will be watching on Friday. I know I will. What improvements, the question mark, the negatives are. If I start seeing Max Christie, and I'm going to be paying attention directly to the player, I won't be watching the game in its entirety. I'm going to be watching individual movement, individual screens, individual shooting, individual man-on-man defense, individual switching on defense, and where body positioning is if they're going to go after a rebound or get ready to go back on defense. These are all the things I'm going to pay attention to during the preseason. If I don't see any improvement in those areas, I find it very, very hard to believe that those things are going to improve, because those things are not improvements that only be done when you're playing real. No, those improvements will show greatly, especially in the preseason, because a lot of people are not really giving enough effort. So it's going to make it stand out even more, because you can make that assessment against their opponent. If their opponent is lollygagging and you can see Max Christie get under him on a rebound and put it back into the basket, boom, that tells me Max Christie is getting ahead of the guys that don't give a crap. And now that guy is going to have to give a crap when the regular season starts. How is Max Christie going to adapt to that then? When people play for real, is he going to be so meticulous and so full throttle on that the other player will give up anyways at some point, or not realize that, hey, I just can't keep up with this guy. This guy's too strong. This guy's too fast. It's a lot to ask for.
Cool Bro says, what's our prediction for Connect's rookie season? I think if he gets into double digits, I think that's a bonus for the Lakers. We'll have to see if he averages above 10 points a game. Most likely a rookie at where he's slotted at will probably average 5 to 7 points a game. That's usually the standard. So the Lakers probably need him to do more on that team if Max Christie doesn't give you what you need. Because as far as from the wing spot, Joe, Connect and Max Reddish, those are your backup wings at this point in time. That's not sending shivers down my spine if I'm the opposing team.
Making predictions and basing things off stats is not going to help this team. If Dalton Connect is averaging 14 points a game, but his defense is terrible and he doesn't know where he is half the time, what are the points going to do? You have to understand that if he's scoring 14 points and allowing 28 points during the game, you're negative 14. That does nothing. When you used to watch Magic Johnson was a detriment to his team when he scored too many points. His best line was always 19, 10, and 10.
Yeah.
Right? The way he controlled the team is what his usage rate. I remember our colleague Stone Hansen mentioned his usage rate was one of the greatest things he's ever seen. It just wasn't based off stats. Michael Jordan was able to do stats and what Magic used to do. That's what made him who he was. But how this team and its chemistry and its understanding of what needs to get done, what is that? I don't know what that is. When I look at the success since LeBron James has come to the Lakers, when there's no adversity, and you could look at COVID as an adversity, but not really. Adversity is usually in-house. It's inside. That's the adversity. The outside noise, most professionals don't let that happen, especially when you're winning. It's only a problem when you're not winning. But the few times that he had good seasons, one in 20, really was 2020 and 2021, the two best seasons of the LeBron AD era, you had major success. The second run where they lost to Phoenix the first round because AD got hurt, that year, even though AD was gone most of the year, they were still number one in defense, and with AD missing practically half the year. So they were dialed in, even with their big gun gone. And then, of course, when it mattered most, he goes down. And, it's one of those things where, just like in 2009 when KG went down, everyone knew Celtics weren't going to go anywhere when KG went down. And that's okay. It's luck of the draw. But then what happens when people panic? This is the part of LeBron James's career where he's been extremely horrible at. When panic sets in, he either runs or he screws up the house. And no one can deny that.
before we get to the thing we're trying to avoid as best we can, but we're not going to be able to before we get on out of here.
What's so funny? What do you keep laughing at?
Because we're going to be dealing, there's a yelling or a rant or something related to Bronny or Braun because of what we're going to talk about at the end of the show. I want to talk about D'Lo first. D'Angelo Russell was very contrite. Big shout out, by the way, to Laker Girl. Go ahead and make sure you are checking out her channel. A lot of great interviews, a lot of great stuff that she does on a daily basis. So big shout out to Laker Girl 36. If you can, go ahead and give her a big shout out, a like, a subscribe. It would be really greatly appreciated. She does some good stuff over there. So hopefully you'll give her a subscribe over there. But I do want to go ahead and mention, Joe, that D'Angelo Russell was very contrite today, both live with Spectrum, but also dealing with reporters. He basically, as you often chide me, was apologizing to everyone he saw as far as for his mannerisms, his actions last year. He says, I want to apologize to the fans that saw me over the last few years. I've become a distraction if I become unprofessional at times. Maybe it's becoming a dad because he is the father. I think he's got a young son, if I remember correctly. Maybe some just older, more mature. He's approaching 30. He says he's just trying to be selfless. And that he said that JJ, who he talked to quite frequently, in fact, JJ quoted that he was talking to D'Angelo more than anyone, said he wants him to have a career year in what could be the final year of his Laker status because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. That's not something that they can change. That's something that just because his contract, he has to be an unrestricted free agent next year. So your thoughts on D'Angelo Russell's comments and what he was saying throughout media day today, but his contriteness and come to Jesus moment, for lack of a better term, as far as him saying that he was really unprofessional over the years and is now trying to put a better path forward now that he approaches his 30s.
Did you feel like he was immature the last couple of years?
He did. Yeah. When he was benched, I thought he did not handle it well when Ham benched him because he was playing bad. There were periods of time in the beginning of the year that he was not playing up to par. And remember last year, I said it would be a year where we would see whether or not he's a starting NBA player as a point guard or he's a guy coming off the bench. And for a while in that first half of the year, Joe, it looked like he was a guy that was destined to be coming off the bench. And he didn't take to it at all. And he pouted and his minutes got cut. And then, it served to motivate him in that second half. And we saw what happened there. And overall, he had a statistically good season up until the playoffs when we all know what happened there. So he did address the playoffs issue. He did address his defensive struggles, despite what James Worthy had praised him for. I don't know. Again, his unprofessionalism, I think, was more apropos during the earlier part of his tenure, like his first tenure with the Lakers, Joe. But yeah, he did not handle his benching last season very well. But how many people actually do?
No one is happy when they get benched. Yeah. I never really felt like I got an obnoxious, unprofessional vibe from D'Angelo Russell. All I got was someone who was incapable of coming through when it mattered most of the time. That's different. That's different. He's going to need to do that. He's going to need to come through all year, regular season and playoffs. Everyone on this team needs to improve from what they were last year, except for maybe LeBron and AD, although it would help if AD could maybe be a little bit more dominant. But everyone has to play better. Every single player. Rui has to be a better player, Austin, D'Lo. And the reason why that's important is technically all three of those guys are actually not starters on a championship team based off their talents. They're better off the bench. They would be
were
better
your 6, 7, 8 guys. That would be really,
six men.
Yeah.
When you have more than half your starters not really supposed to start. That's what creates this deficiency. And then you have unproven talent on the bench and close to busts on your second half of the bench. Cam Reddish is really one more year from probably never playing in the NBA, at least not regularly. He could probably stay as an 11, 12 guy for the next 5 to 10 years, sure. But as far as being a viable rotational player, unless he makes some drastic 180, I don't see him being that guy. Christian Wood has shown for years he's just not capable of being depended on. Dalton Connect needs time. I believe if he stays healthy, he'll have a very good career. Max Christie is living off potential. And the Lakers have been terrible paying guys off potential for the last decade. They've been terrible at it.
They just did it again this summer.
They paid, I remember, Luke Walton. They paid THT.
Max Christie.
They paid Max Christie. It's not good based off the history. Max Christie probably would need to be the biggest improvement because he is young. He does have a good head on his shoulders, except for that alpaca hairstyle that he keeps sporting. But if he does improve to the point where he is a viable rotational player, it will go a long way in helping this team win 2 or 3 games during the year. And then if you have somebody like Connect who is competing for the Rookie of the Year, that's another probably 2 or 3 wins during the year. Then you factor in J.J. Redick's philosophy and scheme. Can you put Anthony Davis in better spots than anyone has ever put Anthony Davis in? Probably John Calipari was the last guy that put Davis in a position that was ideal, perfect. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Frank Vogel did, but they fired him. They had the best defensive team for 2 years in a row, won a championship, even had the number 1 defense with his number 1 guy gone half the year, and they still fired him for a freaking Dunsky. And we're going to find out if this new Dunsky is not a Dunsky.
Last but not least, and once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro. Truly appreciate it. I mean, Austin Reeves, he did say some good things about what JJ wants to make sure he incorporates into the offense with him, obviously asking him to be more of the offense, facilitate more of the offense. But Joe, a great bit of the media day, great bit of the media, as you and I talked about and discussed, what we knew would happen, did happen. Family Picture Day. And a lot of conversations with both Bronny and Bron. Obviously, the fact that they will be the first father and son on the court together in an NBA game, whenever that happens. Most likely it'll probably be in the first game to get that out of the way. But I think the discussions with LeBron were interesting because he said, based off of the fact that he's playing with his son and the fact that he played so well, in the Olympics, he said he's got a lot left in the tank as he approaches the year 40 of his life. He talked about what he's going to do for the offense. He talked to JJ and said he's more comfortable whatever JJ Redick installs as far as an offense. He said he's willing to adapt his game to whatever head coach JJ Redick wants this season. We've heard these things before. He said he's going to play, whether it's playing off the ball or more shooting threes. He said LeBron said he can do anything on a basketball floor and will plug in wherever LA needs him. We've heard these things before, but it always defaults back to LeBron ball. And everybody knows what that is as far as the isolationism, him driving, him making decisions, him having the ball in his hand, high usage rate, et cetera, et cetera. Your thoughts on LeBron's comments first, just on that aspect, as far as him working into what JJ Redick wants to do, my friend. We'll get to the Bronny stuff later.
No, I don't believe LeBron. There's no such thing as a guy in his 22nd season all of a sudden deciding to adapt.
Is it the old dog theory?
They tried to change Tim Tebow's throwing mechanics, and this is someone who spent his and still spends his entire life serving others, and he didn't do it. And you're telling me a narcissistic, love himself more than anyone I've ever seen decides to all of a sudden in his 22nd season to acclimate to someone else's philosophy? You want me to believe that? No such thing. LeBron James is a lot of great things on the basketball court, but his BS is never non-detected.
I guess Devin didn't like that comment or comparison to Tim Tebow to LeBron.
I used Tim Tebow's mechanics as an example. I didn't compare him to Tim Tebow. Open your fucking ears and listen to what I said. I talked about mechanics of Tim Tebow. Wake the fuck up. You want me to say it again?
It's okay.
For those of you who don't remember or weren't alive, I don't know, Tim Tebow didn't make it in the NFL because he couldn't throw. Mechanics are everything in the NFL when it comes to a quarterback. Everything, and of course, reading defenses. What I meant by that comment is Tim Tebow is a server of people. He's a community person. He cares. He's willing to do everything for the team. They tried to teach him how to throw the ball like an NFL quarterback needs to throw the ball. He couldn't do it. So imagine now you're telling me that LeBron James, the most egotistical, narcissistic, love himself player I've ever seen in sports, is going to change his ways for someone who's never coached in the NBA in his 22nd season? You tell me if that makes sense. You tell me. And if anyone has a problem with what I said, you don't know shit about sports, basketball, or anything that I'm talking about right now. So just understand what's going on. Pay attention. There's a reason why God gave you 2 years and 1 hole here.
All right. And last but not least, on that note, Bronny James, the subject of playing with his son, came up. And I like Bronny's first question he was asked: are you going to drive to the games with your dad? And of course, Bronny's answer was hell no. But we'll see if that actually comes out to fruition. But yeah, it just, again, a lot of this was about Bronny and Bron today, and less of it about winning the championship. It's the only thing I really liked about what Max Christie said was about, because his focus, he was the only one really to utilize the words, the goal is a championship. That's one thing I didn't hear enough of in today's media day. It was more about Bron and Bronny, or everybody looked good during the summer. We did this, gained some strength here. We lost a little bit of weight there. We're going to go ahead and work with JJ Redick on this and that. The one thing that gets lost, because Joe, you have said it, to this organization, the only thing that should ever matter is championships.
EJ, you listening? Oh,
He's
he's here.
I don't know if he's live on the air on his show.
Folks, I can't play in the NBA. I can't play in the NFL. But I'm competitive in the fields I'm in. It's different. Sports is different. Professional sports, it's not. Regular business isn't. It's just not the same. You don't play to be the best. You play for money in the real world. Sports is different. You play for money, but there's also stuff set up to win. And it's probably why I love sports so much, because it takes you away from the greed, from the constant nonsense of always thinking about the almighty dollar. So I live vicariously through my teams, and I allow myself to enjoy the spectacle, but I'm also greedy. I want to win. I want my teams to win. And when I feel like your entire existence is about winning, and you've done that, and then all of a sudden you do a 180 because of other reasons that don't pertain to winning, I'm going to get very defensive. And I'm not going to buy into the bullshit. You do understand, much like I gave you the excuse of 2021 when AD got hurt. Shit happens. I'm not going to get angry at that the same way I'm getting angry now in this offseason, because they were trying to win. They were trying to deal with the circumstances at the time, and unfortunately, the tire blew out. And that shit happens, and you have to eat it, and it sucks, but that's normal stuff. What's not normal is when you sit there and you tell me you want to win championships, yet you don't upgrade your roster while you have your greatest rival just winning a title, who was competing year in and year out the last 6 seasons, and still upgraded during the season. And they had the same cap situation you did. You did nothing. They can't keep upgrading. You're not doing shit. Yet I'm being told, Joe, aprons and chef's hats and LeBron, Bronny. What the hell does that have to do with anything? This is their job. You're supposed to find ways to do it. You know how I know? Because Dr. Buss used to do it. Mitch Kupchak used to do it. Jerry West used to do it. That's what I'm used to. And Genie was there. And that asshole Rob Pelinka was there because he was sitting next to Kobe. These guys should know. So, what did they spend their time doing before the draft? What's the result? The result is they had a good player drop to them at 17, and then they took a vacation after that. To me, that's not a sign of a team wanting to win a championship.
Yeah, but as I had stated for weeks before the draft, you knew they were going to pick Bronny at 55. You had even said for days in leading up to it what you would do if they picked Bronny at 55, because you knew deep down that's what they were going to do. You could see it coming a mile away, Joe. Any fan out there that really knows the NBA knew this was going to happen. This was ultimately going to be what was going to happen. Was those Bronny James going to be picked by the Los Angeles Lakers? So we could have moments like this.
Mm-hmm. No, moments could be much worse in December. And then I'm going to be looking for the excuses after that. If you think I'm bad now, wait till then. These assholes start 10-20. Oh, if you think the venom is bad now, you're going to wait till you see me at 10-20. They better not get there. They better not be sitting at 10-20.
Ralph Jennings, the $50 million that he's getting this year, that's also kind of like an incentive to still stay and play. I mean, my gosh, how many places can you go to get $50 million? He doesn't need it. He's a billionaire. Yeah, I get it. But 50 mil is 50 mil, Joe.
Of course he's going to keep playing. They're making $50 million. The owner has given him full autonomy to run her organization however he sees fit. Why the hell would he ever leave? And he gets to play a kid's game. You think he wants a real job? What's he going to do not playing basketball? Sit in an office? Go swimming? Own a team? Biggest farce going around right now, another fantasy land discussion, we're not talking about hood ornament owners, folks. When you're sitting on $1 billion in worth, you ain't gonna be able to buy an NBA, NFL, or MLB team, folks. These organizations cost buco money. And LeBron James, as rich as he is, doesn't have that kind of money. So all this stuff about him wanting to own the Vegas team when it comes, you already have a watered down league. You want to add another 2 teams to an already watered down league? Oh, and you're telling me that LeBron's going to be able to afford to own a basketball team? Folks, if you're not the principal owner, you ain't shit when it comes to ownership. It's just a buzzword.
There you go. That's better, Ralph Jennings. I like that better. Ralph's only reason to play, LeBron's only reason to play was with his son, and then an extra move. I like that better. That's better. I'll give you that one. But Joe, it was Lakers Media Day. It is what it is. We hear the same things every year when you go to these NBA Media Days. Again, the status of Fando and Wood, very tenuous to start the season at best, but we'll see what happens there. But probably the most interesting thing around the league that I heard from today's media day was from the Drippers down the street, the Clippers, with Kawhi Leonard talking about his knee issues and how it flared up during the course of the late in the season, how he needed the surgery, the fact he wasn't able to go for Team USA, and then how it's being treated now, but he's still iffy to start the season himself. So that was probably the most interesting thing out of the entire verbiage that was thrown out there throughout all the entire, NBA media days. Of course, since the trade has not finalized yet, the cat in New York, Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo to Minnesota, that thing, as far as their media days, they couldn't make appearances yet. But your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard and his comments earlier today for the Clippers media day, and how badly it'll affect them heading into a new arena. I know I call it the toilet bowl, but yeah, heading into a new arena nonetheless.
Before I answer that question, Richard, you're thinking about Mitchell Robinson, right?
Mitchell Robinson, yeah, he's out for.
There's a chance, but I don't think he's worth giving up a first-round pick.
He may not be available till the end of the year at best, Richard. So if you pick him up now, you're getting a guy that's not going to be ready until January.
Yes, I don't believe if we trade matching contracts, sure, but I wouldn't drop any reasonable draft capital for him. And then your question is, what was your question again, Gerald? Again, real quick.
It was in regards to Kawhi Leonard. Your thoughts on Kawhi
Leonard? Kawhi Leonard has, after this year, $100 million left on his contract. That might as well be 50 years from now. I don't know how the hell the Clippers are going to have to deal with this for another 2 seasons after this. We've discussed the Kawhi Leonard career. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame, had a phenomenal career, 2-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time MVP, of the finals, one in Toronto and one in San Antonio. It only goes to show, and the Clippers completely destroyed their future by bringing him in, because they gave up a future MVP possibly in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Paul George, whom only lasted 4 seasons, and then jettisoned to Philly this last offseason. New arena, all that, it's going to look like they're going back to the same old Clippers. Maybe I should say same old Clippers. The same old Clippers before were complete and utter sewage rats. But they're going to be, 35 wins this year without Kawhi and Paul?
Yeah.
Probably 35 wins, yeah.
I think there were 38 with Vegas, but that was before any definitive news with Kawhi.
And it's
40, I'm sorry.
And when you rewind, I would guess I don't know this for sure because Kawhi seems to be an odd character, a very unique character. Maybe he never would have regretted it, even looking at it now, 2020. But imagine if he had decided to go to the Lakers. And he was close, folks. If the Clippers didn't do the deal that they did, he would have been a Laker. He likely would have helped the Lakers win 2 championships. He would not have had to have been burdened with all the number one guy on the team. The 2020 season, he obviously would have won a championship that year. The Lakers won it without him. They probably would have went undefeated in that playoff run with Kawhi Leonard. And then the following year, maybe it wouldn't have taxed AD as much during that year. And maybe AD doesn't get hurt. So many scenarios there that would have benefited Kawhi and would have benefited the Lakers. And unfortunately, and why I mention this is that the last 2 superstars that ended up going to the Clippers last minute both went down in a grand flame of fire. The first one was CP3 with the veto, and then Kawhi Leonard being coaxed into coming to LA because the Clippers were willing to destroy their entire future for Paul George, whom returned a favor by leaving anyways.
You guys are all set to trade for someone. Again, Mitchell Robinson, one of the best offensive rebounders in the NBA, period. And obviously shot blocker, defensive rebounder as well. I would like the trade, but the problem is, guys, you don't get him until he's cleared to play basketball again. And right now it looks like it may be late December, January. So if you trade for him, you don't have a backup center. Let's say you throw Jackson Hayes into the trade because New York is already thin after this Minnesota trade, Joe. So let's say you have to throw Hayes in the trade because they're talking about a Reeves deal that would bring over here Hart and Robinson, which I don't think New York would do because you're giving away whatever depth you have left for one guy in Reeves because Hayes is not, Hayes. But I don't know. I would love to have Robinson on the team. I wanted him on the team when he was available for the draft in the second round. But to have him now, Joe, he wouldn't be ready until January. The Lakers
better than nothing.
You'd have to deal with Colin Castleton as your backup center until January, unless Koloko gets.
No, Koloko and Jackson Hayes are going to be your bigs. I don't think Castleton's going to get a lot of.
We don't know about Koloko yet because again, in the league, I've not seen anything about
if
the
Koloko's
league.
not there, then LeBron's going to be playing center, probably 10 minutes each game.
Corbina, we can't get Walker Kessler. We don't have enough picks. They'll want picks for Walker Kessler. Maybe trade deadline that might be something different, but right now I don't think Danny Ainge is going to give up on Walker Kessler just yet. He's only in his 3rd season, for God's sakes. If it does go south, then maybe in February we could look to get him. But yeah, now I don't see that as a possibility. Eric says the Lakers need to ship out $32 million for that to work, and they don't have it. Yeah, that's the numbers. I didn't even look at the numbers, Eric, yet. So. That was just put out there by Seven, and he wants Mitchell Robinson on the team, and I'm just like, I wouldn't mind having him either when he's healthy, but that again is not until January. But if I was New York, why don't you keep him? Because you'll have Cat and you'll have Robinson as a big front line, especially if, as Joe said, and Joe is right is on that one, is that fact. That Cat's defense, it didn't work out last time he played center in a Tom Thibodeau defense. So,
yeah, the New York team is going to be.
He was talking about Hart Robinson for Austin Reeves and Jackson Hayes. Yeah. But the money doesn't match up.
I don't really know if that's you risk. There's got to be a better deal at some point between now and February. It's
I mean,
either
there's
a
the
better
Clint
deal
Capellas out
or
there, but then again, that's $22 million coming off the books. Atlanta might just keep him. Robert Williams, Time Lord. How are his knees? You don't know. So Jonas Valanciunas doesn't trade eligible until December. So
Lakers need rebounding. I don't know
yeah,
where they're going to get it.
yeah. They're going to crash the boards, Joe, from the wings.
If they crash the boards, they better be in Pat Riley shape. They're going to need to run for 6 months. And then you have 2 more months of running for the playoffs. And some of these guys are young, so they should be able to do it. But will this allow them?
We'll see. But Joe, before we head on out, I wanted to go ahead and take a message for you, because I told you at the end of the show I would talk to you about what someone said about us, and particularly pointed you out as well. So I want to just put it on the screen here. There you go. Okay. It was from Lion Emperor on one of our previous videos a couple days ago. He said, there's a few reasons why this channel is not to my liking anymore. He said, you guys are old and have old head, get off my lawn rhetoric. You have a heavy negative bias and criticism. You're hating on your star player, LeBron. Joe said LeBron doesn't focus on winning. LOL. The man went to 9 finals in 10 years. And you guys are never optimistic about anything. I'm tired of the negative old man energy. The season is about to start and you guys are bitching and moaning for no reason.
No reason.
No reason.
You just lost all your credibility with that last word. You don't know shit about basketball, and you don't know shit about what you're watching. That's my answer to that. And we weren't negative last year. And we weren't negative the year before.
This time last year, we were positive.
Yes, we were. And now, based off what's happened, is why we're assessing this. You want to call me an old man? That's on you.
I am.
But I pay attention. Okay? This is about winning. It's not about feeling good and supporting. You wanna have your ass tapped and said, hey, good job. Go join a goddamn little league. Go put the positive there with a bunch of kids. Okay, this is professional sports with grown-ass men. And right now, these guys all suck at winning. Why are we dropping? What is it? Let me look at the salary here. Hopefully he's watching. Almost $200 million in annual salaries. To do what? To play in a play-in? You have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on your team, and you're not even getting out of the first round? You make it to the Western Conference Finals and get smoked? The year before that, you don't even make the fucking playoffs? 3 years wasted, and the fourth looks like it's coming in the same way. And you want me to go and do jumping jacks and take flowers and make you all feel good? Fuck you and fuck your positive bullshit, because that's what it is. You want me to be positive? Set up a roster that fucking matters, that's going to fucking win. Okay? And if you want me to support LeBron James, maybe he should pay attention to winning instead of having his little get-together with his family on a professional level. Because he's turned this team into that. He's turned it into a charity case. This team is not about winning championships. And they have 17 fucking banners up in the rafters. You want to call me an old man? You want to call me get off my lawn? I don't even have a fucking lawn. You should know that if you paid attention. Y'all don't pay attention. I do. And I can back up what I say. I can back it up. That's not old. That's not being negative. None of it. You want to believe it or not, it's on you. But you're wrong. Because look at the results. And I told you guys, God help you in December if this team is 10 and 20, 10 and 30, 15 and 25, whatever the fuck it is. You think it's bad now, wait till then.
I'm just going to say this, Joe. When we were so positive on the Lakers, despite what went on, we were so disparaged by what happened with the Russell Westbrook trade, but they found a way out of that, and they went on that run to the Western Conference Finals, and we were positive. Watch those shows, Lion Emperor. Watch those shows on how good it was up until the point where, yes, they didn't get it done in the Western Conference Finals, but watch us when in that series against Golden State. You forget that. You short-term memoried that when we were so happy. You don't see the sound bites, the videos I made from that era where we were ecstatic and happy. Choose to ignore that. When we were so positive the next summer going in, as far as what's concerned from last season, we were very positive on the Lakers' outlook last season, heading into that season, despite what were reservations on Darvin Ham, which we had still at that time. We thought the Lakers had a good overall outlook. We were positive on them heading into the season. And then it all went awry, and they had to recover at the last minute. And there were still points in time where we thought the Lakers, you know what? They're a competitive team. They got back into the playoff mix, and they were still able to compete with Denver. But the problem is you went from a Western Conference Finals team and you got worse, and you unfortunately lost in the first round. It does not look good because you don't make any changes. The front office made very little movement as far as the personnel to improve, to get you back up to that Western Conference Finals or higher, the NBA Finals. No, we're regressing. You can see the regression. And when you don't do anything, you don't act upon it, it's concerning. It's concerning for Joe, and it's concerning for me. And if that comes off to you as negativity, get off my lawn stuff, so be it. We're honest and we're real. We're not going to throw flowers like some of these other channels and tell you everything's roses and sunshine when it's not. When the Lakers are at their best, we will call it. When the Lakers are at their worst, we will call it. And we're not going to change. I ask whoever comes on the show, just be honest. That's all I ask. And if you don't want to watch, I don't respect your wishes. If you don't think our channel will not grow, then I'm sorry.
It's a matter of interpretation. And the reason why this show isn't growing in its crazy capacities because we have done everything organically. And we're in an era where every asshole out there wants to do a podcast. It's the only thing I hate about that is that anyone and everyone can do this. Open up a podcast and sit there and just yap about bullshit. The only difference between us and those assholes could be they have some notoriety, they have some marketing arm that's helping them, and the fact that people like, for some reason, a bunch of fucking morons talking about whatever the fuck they talk about. Here, we have facts here. There's knowledge here. There's viewing. It's just like when someone comes to me and tells me LeBron is better than Jordan, and then they tell me they're 24 years old. 24 years old? You're 24 years old. That means you were born in 2000. How the fuck do you know if LeBron is better than Michael Jordan? You were -2 years old when Jordan retired. You have no room to discuss who's better if you were born really after 1980. You're not going to remember what the hell happened in 1991 at 11 years old, typically. I'll give you 3 years. How about that? 83. That's 41 years old. A 41-year-old coming to me and saying LeBron is better than Jordan, let's say. You're 41, right? You were born 1983? That means you were 8 years old when Jordan won his first title. Then you were 9, then you were 10, and then you were 13, 14, and 15. I'll give you the back 3 at that point. We can go all day with this. You're right, Eric. It's the same bullshit. You know, I have my cousins, my little runt cousins, call me a boomer. Did Gerald just check out? Am I by myself now again?
Welcome to. Oh, wow. All right.
You
And
might
on
need
that
to
note,
start paying the bills over there.
I think we do. But Eric, when you get a chance, come on the show, man. When you get a chance. But
So let me put a button on this. If your interpretation of this show is boomer, old man, Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood stuff, you have zero credibility in understanding what the point is. You have no credibility because this comes from 33 years of watching basketball. And the only reason why I didn't make this a career is because I knew I wouldn't want to deal with any kind of radio producer or any of these scumbag. I was going to say another word, but I'm going to keep it a little bit better here. Scumbag executives who you've seen already show their colors when it matters. They fire everyone who's making any money, and they treat those guys like they're their slaves. They tell them what to say, what to think, what political views they should have, all that stuff. I sensed that 12, 13, 14 years ago that it was going to happen, and I stayed away from it. But the podcast kind of opened this up a little bit so that I don't have to worry about some kind of a producer or some kind of entity that's going to tell me what to do, because I would have told that person to take whatever they think I should say, turn it sideways, as The Rock used to say, and shove it up your ass. I didn't make it in life listening to some scumbag who can't take care of his own spouse and his kids hate him. You think I'm going to listen to some piece of shit like that? You can't even take care of your own household? I'm going to listen to you? What, because your name is executive in some bigwig Disney, Sony company? I don't give a fuck what it is. I ain't going to listen to anybody like that. So we have this show, and we're hot right now. Why? Because this organization is celebrating mediocrity when it never had before. Well, actually, it did for a minute, but at least there was a reason then that we could go with. They were trying to get picks to bring in talent. It was at least that made sense. Right now, they have nothing. Zero. They have no picks in this coming draft. That means if they sucked ass, it still doesn't matter. That's a position they put themselves in. So you want me to be all positive about that? You want me to be positive that they spent more time drafting a fucking guy who can't play in the NBA because his daddy wanted him there? The same asshole who bitched and whined for 20 years about privilege of other people, yet it's okay when he does it. You see why I'm pissed off? I don't like hypocrites. And LeBron James has shown a lot in his life. Two things: that he talks out of his ass on shit he doesn't know anything about, and he's a motherfucking hypocrite. I don't like people like that. I don't care how rich they are. I don't care if they play for my team. I don't care if they're my family members. I'll call up my family member just as much I talk to a stranger, to LeBron, to anyone. I don't give a shit who you are.
I do want to correct you real quick, Joe. They don't have a first because it's Atlanta's, but they do have 2 seconds in next year's draft.
Fantastic.
I know.
They'll
They'll
probably save that for his other son. And
Sorry.
maybe a third cousin. Maybe Connect's third cousin. Maybe
I was trying to quickly say that.
Yeah, I'm sure you. Yeah, I get it. No.
We were both thinking Bryce.
It's the justification and your reasoning on why things are so off and so stupid that somebody needed to tell you that, because initially what's going to happen is people usually get defensive and they start crying and whining. And that's always relative. People think when you're complaining, you're whining. Some people can look at it as, well, they're making an announcement. You know, that's all dependent on them. But you also got, if you're listening to reason, if you're listening to details behind what you're saying, they're still going to choose to listen or not listen. More often than not, people want to be right. In this day and age, people would rather be right than to actually have something be right. They want to be right because they want to feel good. You think I feel good talking shit about my favorite team? You think that makes me feel good? No, it doesn't. But it is what it is. You think I want to not like LeBron? I love LeBron when he plays well on the basketball court. It's a beautiful thing to watch. But the guy's a jackass a lot of times. He is. And he's always been like that. It comes from somewhere. It's not just a bunch of people hate. They're out there. Don't get me wrong. The haters are out there. But I don't dislike LeBron James just because I want to be a hater. He encourages it by the things he does. And it usually means it's going to be a detriment to what ultimately why he's here, which is to win, to compete at the very least. Compete as in when you get fouled and you get a call, can you run back on defense? Is that so much to ask from the guy who's supposed to be the leader, the greatest of all time? Because I never saw guys like Shaq, and Shaq was a lazy player, but I never saw him not get a foul and all of a sudden not do anything over and over and over again. Maybe one time here and there, okay. But over and over again, that's bad leadership. That creates bad habits. And what did the Lakers have the last 2 years? Bad habits.
Jeremy says, Jerry, do you think it's imperative to have a huge ego to play in the NBA?
Yes.
To do well in the NBA, yes, you should have confidence in your game.
Yes, ego is huge. All the great ones had egos. However,
and not just basketball, Joe.
Yes, egos is a huge asset because there's a belief there that those guys have that they can make things happen. And when you see it happen, you got to roll with it.
Uh-oh, Darren and Intel are getting into a little bit of a paid fight here. Guys, calm down. Let cooler heads prevail. This is what happened last time between JSJ and Xbox.
The action is the juice.
Love each other. Don't hate.
The action is the juice. And this kind of dialogue will be our staple one day. And that's something y'all going to have to come to grips with.
I appreciate both you and Intel, Darren, with the super chats. It is immensely and greatly appreciated. Plus, also as well, I thank Intel for being able to provide all those memberships out there. I cannot thank you enough for doing that. I'm going to give everybody the rundown when we come on tomorrow night. Don't bring up the
Go ask Greg Popovich if Kawhi had an ego. I bet he'd be telling you something different.
Yeah, San Antonio didn't wind up on the good end of that one. So
yeah, we had to endure Masai Ujiri being this genius. I was sitting there listening to this over-exaggerated genius. I'm like, Greg Popovich handed him a championship. And really it was handing him a player that helped him win a championship. But KD, if KD's Achilles is intact, they don't win shit. All of a sudden, Masai Ujiri is this, just like Danny Ainge after 08. He's this genius. Well, okay, you win one, now what? Anyone can win one every now and then. Can you make it work continuously?
Well, again, I'm hoping cooler heads prevail in our chat room. Please, guys, it's just not worth it, man. Come on. Here to enjoy ourselves, here to listen to Joe rant and me rant and all that stuff. Just want to have good fun talking about the Lakers. And I hope
it can't be at the detriment of success, though. There are two egos, good and bad egos. The good ego is the ego that propels you. The bad ego is desecrating chemistry, desecrating the team because...
understanding when it hurts your team.
Correct.
7 Grand says, Joe, are you Latino? Gerald, are you like British or Irish? I'm Scottish. And
I'm Middle Eastern.
And Hispanic.
Full-blooded, too. No mixes anywhere.
Yes. Again, we would like to have everybody stay with us going forward to hopefully build this thing and prove individuals like Lion Emperor wrong. Would be
The
still a
positive
chance.
take from today was Anthony Davis. I enjoyed listening to him talk. That was the most positive part of the show.
Well, Darren, again, I just don't want to go any more detail on it. I think it was just some things that you were saying that in the previous episode. I think that got a little bit as far as me upset in regards to some of this incorrect statements that were made. And Darren, I have a ton of respect for you and the fact that you've stuck out through us through thick and thin. But come on, some things that are said are over the line here when you guys take shots at us. I mean, you guys take shots at us all the time. I get it on the comments. I get it in emails. I get it all over the place. I have to answer all of them. I answered comments, Joe, until 3:30 in the morning yesterday. And again, we're just a struggling little channel trying to do better in the world and trying to get to the point where we're up there with those Lakers channels and have a voice. You guys obviously are entertained by what we do. So it's better if we all work together instead of working.
We may be.
No, Darren, I didn't say you sent them. I said I get emails.
There's always a chance of failure, right?
I get emails. I get comments. I get as far as YouTube comments. I get social media comments. I have to answer all that for a ton of people that have things to say about Joe, me, Jamie, Laker Tom. I've had to answer for that over the years for all these guys. John Costa. Yeah, I mean, all of these guys I've had to answer for as far as it's concerned. So, and I just want to hear your opinions. So that's why I'm asking Eric. That's why I'm asking Xbox to come on the show, because I know that another individual, Joe, said that they only like to hear you and I. And I just respectfully said I would like to hear a broader voice amount of voices on the show. It would be great. I like it when Lakerholics come on Saturdays. Darren said he liked Laker Tom, hearing him now and then. The more voices you hear on basketball and the NBA and the Lakers, I think on this channel, it's better for the growth of this channel. It's better for the product of this channel, not just hearing Joe and I each and every day.
Not a lot of people can make the commitment.
No, but having occasional voices come on.
This is a battle of attrition. Joe Rogan had his podcast 5 years with no one listening until it blew up. And Joe Rogan was a famous guy even then.
You've used that analogy like 100 times.
And I'm going to keep using it because this is going to hit when it hits. We don't know when. We keep doing it. Now, you've been in it, what, 1,800 years?
I've been doing this since 2009. 2009.
When you virtually slap you in front of everybody?
You've tried to before.
Tried? There's no try. I've decided not to save you humiliation. I'm here.
You wouldn't even know it.
To create brain cells for everyone when it comes to our topics.
And lose your own.
No, I don't lose anything. I told you I was wired for this.
Well,
when I get off air,
when you get drunk,
we'll lay down and enjoy Sports Center, a movie. I wouldn't even think twice about what I said. We all need to understand that this isn't. I don't need drinks to calm down. I drink because I want to drink.
Oh yeah, once we turn off the air.
I don't do dope. I don't do drugs. I don't need to go sit outside and breathe. I don't do any of that shit. I know who I am. I know what I'm saying. Doesn't matter if it's hot, cold, or medium. It is what it is. People don't like me. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit.
Seven, it was really good to see Dr. J. I did see him as an old man because that's when I started watching, was late 70s, early 80s. And when he was a little bit past his prime, but still he could do things there that reminded people of the past. Did I watch From?
What is this? Are we giving thanks to every human being on the planet right now? What is this? What about Dr. J?
He said in the comments, 7 Grant said, I would have loved to seen Dr. J play even as an old man. I was just commenting on that.
Yeah. He retired in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still that dunk on Landsberger. As what Chick Hearn's famous call, "Oh, rock the baby to sleep." It was something. But yeah, I've heard from, but I have not been able to see it yet, Jeremy. That's a good suggestion. I will probably go ahead and see what I can. Yes, I'll rest in peace to Pete Rose and Dikembe Mutombo.
Terrible day.
Yeah. And John Ashton as well from Beverly Hills Cop.
Even the guy that played John Black on Days of Our Lives, my mom, God rest his
Yes,
soul.
absolutely. Yeah, he passed
away with pancreatic cancer, just like my mom did. This pancreatic cancer seems to be.
It was brain cancer with Dikembe Mutombo.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I make posts sometimes on Facebook every now and then, and once in a while today I did one for Dikembe, and I was like, really, Dikembe? At all the people you picked Dikembe? Come on, man.
But 7, I will say 7. It was funny what you said earlier that all of us are going to be tearing up when Bronny and Braun get on the court together, and I'm like, I can think of one person that probably won't. Last name rhymes with Noro. I wonder who that might be. Yeah. Darren says Shaq smashed in the 2001 finals and Matone, hung in there. Tried to, but we all know how that one went. Thank goodness for us. But yeah, if you got to see Mutombo in that first round playoffs where they were the number 8 seed in Denver and they won, it was over Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, correct? When it was the 8 seed over the 1 seed. Joe?
Yeah, it was 1994 Denver against Seattle, and I believe Seattle won the first 2 games. And they
came back, and then you see the iconic picture of Mutombo holding the ball. Yeah, that was a moment. So.
Pretty cool. And then they took the Jazz to 7. I believe they were down 3-0, and they came back and tied it up, and then they lost in 7.
So now that the lifetime ban is over, JY's asking, will they put Pete in the Hall now?
If they do, they're pieces of shit.
He is the all-time hit leader.
But then Rose, I'm not there. I wasn't there. A lot of these things you never really know. But I heard Pete Rose was not a good dude off the field.
I only met him once,
very
briefly interaction.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
I can't tell you personally, but I have heard the same.
When you look at Pete Rose and Barry Bonds and their careers, their attitudes preceded everything in the end, and both, unfortunately, are not in the Hall of Fame due to the fact that their communication with people was rotten. And the reason why I say that is you've had in the last few years a few guys that were on that list that got into the Hall of Fame, or at least there was discussions of a list where they were on it. Number 1, Mike Piazza. Number 2, Ortiz. There was noise about those guys.
Do you think the Clemens, the Bonds, the Roses of the world ever get into the Hall of Fame? No.
If they do put Rose in the Hall of Fame,
should they put?
It would be obvious that they did it in spite.
Despite him.
I don't. There's no chance Clemens or Bonds will ever go into the Hall of Fame unless there's a purge of the voters.
Jeremy's asking DiVincenzo or Reeves. I would take DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
That guy, that New York series, him in the playoffs, he was their best playoff performer, Jeremy. And the guy shot 46% from 3 last season. And Golden State gave up on him which was the funniest part about it. So Eric says DiVincenzo on defense and Reeves for offense. I don't know. DiVincenzo 46% behind the arc, and the way he played for New York, he kept them in that series at times in Indiana and also against Philadelphia. So I'm taking DiVincenzo. I think that's the part of the trade that people aren't talking about is getting DiVincenzo. They're talking about Randall for Cat, and I'm talking about improving their depth in Minnesota. DiVincenzo, if they utilize him correctly, it could be a big win for Minnesota. Yeah, he was a shooter, but he just wasn't utilized properly, I think, in Golden State. I think really he found his niche in New York, and the Fournier experiment didn't work well in New York, and DiVincenzo, man, he did show out in playoffs. That guy proved something to me in the playoffs. Whether or not he'll do it again, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I'm basing a lot of it off of his previous season and his, in the playoffs. Ralph Jenick says, are Knicks still a competitor for the playoffs, finals, or did they fall apart?
I think they're going to be one of 3 teams that are going to compete to get to the finals in the East. They improved. I believe they improved because Julius didn't play last year, and they had a pretty good run. DiVincenzo is a loss, but Cat is better than DiVincenzo, and I believe.
Well, Cat has to shoot what DVD shot,
and he will. The only thing is, will he crumble under the New York media? That's what I'm going to wait on. This had to have been greenlit by Tom Thibodeau. That's probably why I don't feel as negative about it.
Yeah, he had to say it okay because they had a pass together. So,
and I think Tom sits down with Cat and says, "Listen, we're going to put you in the best position to do what you do best, and everyone else is going to do their job, and let's go win a championship."
Well, they've got all those wings. They've got those really switchable wings in New York. So I think OG and Bridges, I mean, that helps a lot, alleviate a lot of the pressure on defense for Cat. So, good, see what happens.
It's going to depend on health.
Yeah.
I'm picking the Philadelphia 76ers to get to the finals, but health is going to have to play a huge part. And we've known Paul George and Embiid have come up lame towards the end of the seasons a lot. But the reason why I think there's a better chance there is because they're going to be helping each other in this. Embiid, for the first time since probably the 2019 Sixers with Ben Simmons, where he's not going to shoulder everything again. He'll have some help. He'll have a little bit more help than just Maxey.
I agree with you, Darren. They do look very deep. I cannot agree with you anymore. Oklahoma City is probably in the best position for any NBA team for the next.
Chet Holmgren has to be an all-star.
That's what Joe's.
He has to be an all-star.
Even with Hartenstein there?
Hartenstein, no. He's going to play huge for that team, but Chet needs to be an all-star, or at the very least a top, probably a defensive player of the year player, which I don't know if anybody's going to get that anymore as long as Wembanyama's playing.
What about Orlando in a crowded East? I know that our good friend Alfred, who was covering up until recently the Orlando Magic, he was very high on them. They did get KCP to try and fix a little bit of that offense. Again, offense is going to be the issue because defensively they're one of the best defensive teams. They got length, they've got size, they got switchability on the perimeter and on the as far as the front court is concerned. So they've got size. They've got a lot of things on defensive end. They got covered. Offense is going to be the key with Orlando, and how they do there will be a key to how successful they'll be next season.
Same as Chet Holmgren, Banchero needs to be an MVP candidate. Mm-hmm. And if a couple things go their way, they could be that.
Wagner has to shoot better.
They can be that. They can probably get to the second round with a good season. They could get to a conference finals, much like the Atlanta Hawks did in 2021, if a few things go their way with injuries from the opponents. But I could see Orlando winning a series with where they are right now.
That's a pretty good starting lineup, Eric. If you got Suggs, KCP, Wagner, Boncaro, and Isaac. So
Phoenix is done, Ralph. Sorry. They had their chance in 2021, again in 2023, and they blew it.
I don't think they can win the title, Ralph, but I think they can win the division because they picked up both those point guards as far as what they did. I think that getting those guys who have a very good assist to turnover ratio, Morris and Jones, I think they probably are really a lot better off than they were last year. Because last year you could tell they needed a point guard and they did not have that stability because they got rid of Chris Paul. Even though Chris Paul is, close to his retirement, they still could have used his kind of steadying influence out there instead of having Booker handle the ball so much. They do have the talent to go ahead, at least win the division, but I don't think they are a title contender. I just don't think there's enough there as far as the depth on that team. They gave everything up to get Beal, and I think that's going to cost them in the end. Eric, and the Xbox, I know is sad. You probably heard that Josh Giddey he talked about at Media Day how he did get hurt on that final play for Australia during the Olympics, and is still trying to come back. But he hopes to be ready for the start of the season. So, yeah, Beal's contract killed them. It was so funny because I was listening to a mocked expansion draft podcast on one of the basketball podcast channels, Joe, and Bobby Marks wouldn't take as far as Beal, he wouldn't trade Beal for unprotected draft picks, right? So they calculated out if he had done that, or let's say Phoenix does that, they would save about $400 million in their current projection as far as the taxes are concerned if they trade Beal. If they traded Beal today, they could save $400 million estimated. I would do that in a heartbeat if I could. But yeah, Xbox, hopefully he'll be back for the start of the season, Giddey. So, but that doesn't help his progression and training camp and getting to know his teammates and things of that nature. Jeremy, we did talk about Zach Lowe getting released and getting laid off. I think it was 2 days ago. I think we talked about it. Yeah, he was good. He's a good writer. But they pay these guys an absorbent amount of money for what they're worth. And I don't know. When you work for those companies, Joe, you've got to make yourself invaluable. And if they don't think you're invaluable to have, i.e. a McAfee, a Stephen A. Smith right now, whoever else you want to put in there, you could be on borrowed time, Joe. Windhorse, to me, I think if he's making a big salary, he could be a target to go next.
Talents don't need the big networks anymore.
Yeah, they got their own outlets. You can go on YouTube.
Proved that already.
Yeah.
Bring your own audience.
On his feet.
Bring your own audience, and then they'll all suck the teat very, very quickly after that.
Yeah, Eric, I know he has a no trade clause. I was just saying a what if.
Allie keeps her job because she kisses the right ass, and that is LeBron James's ass. She did it in Cleveland, and she's doing it now. And she's got skill, though. She's not bad at her job. But her job initially was to kiss LeBron's ass from Ohio to LA. And then when Windhorst started saying some things, he got ostracized. Because that's what dictators, that's what pieces of shit, people who don't like hearing bad things do. They cut people off. Like the cowards they are. I almost started going on a different rant, but I didn't want to make Gerald roll his eyes and start squirming.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Lakers Media Day has come to an end. Hopefully some of these words about the promise can be fulfilled. out there on the
Hope,
court
hope,
this season?
hope, wish, if, blah, blah, blah. Positive, my ass.
Well, that was Lakers Media Day to a T right there.
Yeah, positive. We're supposed to be positive. No talent, one old geezer and one guy that's still in his prime. No rebounding, and a bunch of fucking guys who don't belong in the NBA, and I'm supposed to be positive. Okay, sure.
Eric is correct, Darren. Yeah, he was given that deal when he was with the Wizards as far as the no trade clause. He waived it to be traded to Phoenix, but that was because he okayed it. So Darren says, if I'm in the league, I'm giving them an offer they will love if I get no trade clauses and shorter contracts. So we'll see what happens. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Joe's typing something in there right now. Make sure you check him out today as Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. And of course, he owns a great company that you need to support if you're in the Southern California area, because he doesn't have a front lawn. He is a synthetic turf guy, and the best place to go for synthetic turf in the Southern California area, see how I remember that from earlier, is Simblades with a Y.com.
It looks like a lawn.
That's the idea.
That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much time I spend on my lawn?
Jeremy, there you go. About as much playing time as Bronny James should be getting.
Jeremy, that is a beautiful retort. That should be framed.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'm going to go ahead and frame this one. This one, correct?
No.
Okay. Because you want to answer that question then from Jeremy?
Or maybe I read it wrong. Sorry, I read that wrong. Did they talk Bronny James playing time? No, they didn't. I would have heard quotes. I didn't listen to the interview. I fast forwarded, but we would have heard talk of that. We would have heard a snippet somewhere. No, they didn't talk about it. They just talked about their whatever the hell they're doing with LeBron. That's it.
You don't want to know our answer on the amount of playing time Bronny should get, and we'll just leave it at that. Because
did they talk Bronny? Did you guys want an answer to that?
I think
Jeremy's is my Aussie crew, so I don't.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I don't care what questions they ask. I'll answer any question.
A rough artist.
My answer to that.
It's actually 5 points
is
in USC. I know it's not a whole lot.
First of all, I don't think the Lakers have won an opening game since 2013. They better play to win. And if they're going to play to win, I don't know if they're going to blow out Minnesota in the end. And they're playing competitive teams at the beginning. They got to play Minnesota, Phoenix, Sacramento, Phoenix again. I don't know. Maybe they might wait till they get to Cleveland. But Cleveland's good. So I don't know when the hell they're going to stick them in there. But if they stick them in there in a tight 35-35 game, then yeah, it's not going to be good.
Ralph Jennings, actually, that was part of Lakers Media Day. We mentioned it earlier. Bronny said, hell no. He does not want to be driven to the game by his father. This is what you have to deal with because they're on the same team together, everyone.
And look, for those of you who are watching, who aren't commenting, who don't like things that we're saying, look what we're talking about. This is what you've created. This is what your positiveness has created. We're discussing if LeBron is going to go to the game with his son. We're not talking about winning championships.
SB, safe travels, my friend. He says he's going to Dubai on October 9th.
Dubai, yes. I gotta go there at some point. Hopefully I'll see you there, bud. I'll see you there soon. And Australia.
But yeah, Xbox, Eric, anytime you guys can stop by, Darren, if you want to ever stop by, we'd love to have you on the show. Again, it's more voices that can come on, whenever they're available to go ahead and talk Lakers. We're always happy to do so. Always happy to listen. So Darren says, here on LB, I got blocked and I blocked 7 and I'm ecstatic. Okay.
I don't like this blocking, guys.
They're doing it to themselves.
I don't like this blocking. I don't like it. You guys
Well,
want to argue,
but they're blocking.
Blocking.
Well, they're blocking it like you block Cool Bro, Joe. They have the ability as a individual just
First
to block.
Of all, that's a different one. Okay, that's a child talking out of his ass.
But I'm just telling you what they're doing because we don't have moderators as of yet.
This is grown.
I'm going to bring some back.
It's different. I'm not talking to some child. I don't want to talk to children. I told you already. I only want to talk to my children. I don't want to talk to anybody else's children. That's it. I'm not going to get in discussions with kids. I'm a grown-ass man. When you have a child going, is the sky blue? How are you not going to block that? What is this? We're talking sports here. He's talking about the sky.
Sports baby. I don't know if you answered my question yesterday, and I apologize if this is a repeat, but did you think Okafor, because I know you're an Indiana fan, did you think Okafor is going to make the team? Jahlil Okafor, everyone. He's making a comeback.
That was probably the most surprising news this week in basketball.
And Markelle Fultz is still out of the league. That was what's.
I really believe Markelle Fultz's mental situation plays a big part.
Must have been that bad in Orlando to end his tenure there.
There's a mental block somewhere there that's just not good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, Eric. He was signed to a non-guaranteed, I think, Exhibit 10 contract with Indiana. So again, he's not a guarantee to make the team, but I was just asking Sports Baby. So I don't know if he's seen him in action down in Indiana. So Chris Bosh for a comeback. I think that ship has sailed.
Chris Bosh. Guys, do you know it's 2024?
But thinking because of Okafor, that's.
I'm sorry, I'm an old man. That I should be talking about 1988.
Get off your lawn.
I should be talking about 1988 and all the good old days.
How does Cousins not get an NBA contract? You know what? We haven't heard about DeMarcus Cousins in a while. Jay, that's a good point because Bosh had the blood clotting issues that Koloko has been going through. I don't know if it's how similar or how dissimilar it is. But again, it's up to the league to determine whether or not Koloko will be healthy enough to play. Eric said, would you draft Okafor at number 2 if that was a question? Yeah.
That's a good one, Black.
All right. On that,
reminds me of that scene in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Oh yes,
that movie when the guy's like he's in line. He goes, "Can I have a coffee, Black?" And then one of my favorites, Craig Robinson. He goes, "Can't you see we're talking white?"
Are you talking about Markelle Fultz, Sports Baby? Because if you are, I mean, he is super fast. And
you got to play that video. Can you get it on YouTube and show everybody what I'm talking about? Everybody thinks I'm nuts.
No, because I'll get a copyright block and this whole thing will. Yeah.
So. All right, guys, go on YouTube. Oh, good. Black knows. See, he knows. Oh man, I laughed so hard watching that movie. Between that and Justin Long, oh man, that one broke me, man. I was laughing hard.
That's Kevin Smith's
hyperventilating laugh.
Movies, Joe.
His delivery and his timing is amazing. So, Jeremy, there's a scene where he's talking to Seth Rogen. What the hell's his last name? Seth something.
You said it right.
Not Rogen. It's the other Seth.
No.
Is it Seth Rogen? Oh, yeah, it is.
No, it is. That's what it's like.
So sorry, I went blank for a second. So he's talking to Seth Rogen, and they're talking about his wife, and he's like talking about how she's the bane of his existence. And then the guy standing behind Seth Rogen wanted to order a coffee, and he kind of butts in and says, "Can I get a coffee? Black?" He's asking for a coffee in black. And then Greg Robinson just looks at him and he says, "Can't you see we're talking white?" And I think what makes the scene funnier is he doesn't even look white. He looks Hispanic. So it's just a myriad of just hilariousness and really, really funny timing on the comedy. And then Justin Long at the reunion. Oh man, that scene was lights out too.
He talks about, oh hey man, what are you doing now? Yeah.
He's like, fucking movies, huh? Yeah, fucking movies. We're all God's children.
I think Kevin Smith has got a movie he's traveling around with now that he did, the 4:30 movie.
Why does Kevin Smith wear size quadruple X shirts or jackets?
After he lost all that weight?
Yeah. Why don't he wear something that's more fitting? Looks weird.
I'll have to ask him.
I don't want to ask him. You ask him.
Just enjoy his movies then. All right.
His movies?
All right. It is the Lakers fast break. We'll be back tomorrow. First day of training camp will be in the books. Will JHS...
That's a good question, Ralph. Which NBA team is the Dallas Cowboys?
That'd be the Lakers.
No.
Yeah.
Lakers have won 6 championships since.
No, he's talking about as far as media attention. He's talking as far as.
Oh, yeah. I thought about winning and losing.
No, because I remember. Okay, people were talking about, well, what was your favorite team? At first, when in LA growing up, when I was a real kid, every Sunday morning, Dallas Cowboys would be on. They were just automatic. CBS would have them on every single week. So you couldn't help but root for the Cowboys at that point in time. But yeah, you see the Lakers now. I mean, who's going to be on TV right now as it stands, unless things go south? Who's going to be on national TV more times than anyone? It's going to be the Lakers. Who gets talked about at ESPN, which all the NBA reporters at ESPN hate, but which team gets talked about more ad nauseum than anyone? It's the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, the closest thing to the New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, Dallas Cowboys in the NBA is the Los Angeles Lakers.
I'm going to say this. As far as prestige, yes. But after that, nothing like the Cowboys.
I'm just talking about media attention. Because, Jerry and all that still resonates. Jerry. All right. It is the Lakers fast break. We'll be back tomorrow.
I would have said the Knicks before Leon and the crew came in a few years ago.
They kind of faded until their recent, outburst.
The Knicks were like the Cowboys. They were supposed to win, but they never won because they had an owner that was meddling. I'd say the Knicks are more like the Cowboys than the Lakers.
They're still the most valuable team. The Knicks are. They're even above the Lakers and the Warriors.
But that's because he owns the Garden.
Yeah.
If the Lakers owned the real estate and the arena, they'd be number one.
But what team gets more media attention in the NFL than the Cowboys?
No one gets more attention than
now
anybody.
That Brady is gone. I think Patriots you could have put in there.
Cowboys still got more.
Yeah.
Cowboys are worth $10 billion by the books, not if they were to sell. That means they'd sell for $13 billion.
And the Kansas City Chiefs needs Taylor Swift to get that kind of attention as far as, the media, all the media attention on her during the course of the game. Is she going to the game? Is she not going to the game?
And the Hunt family are notorious frugal people whom tried to ride this wave and make the cities and the counties and the people pay for their new little upgrade or whatever the hell they were trying to do, which always just is mind-boggling to me how this is allowed all the time. It's the same people. This is again back to the hypocrisy thing. The same assholes who keep feeding you, do the right thing, and then they have all these cancer things, right? They're all there caring about cancer patients. Hey, we care. We have an uncle. We have this. When it matters most, what do? You try to fleece the city out of their tax dollars so you can build your stadium instead of your dumbass who's worth that $3-4 billion paying for it. Fuck you.
It's a good point.
Scumbags.
I mean, they've got their highest value now, the Chiefs do, because of Mahomes, and also because of the Swift factor, Kelsey, and all that, and plus the fact that their results matter and that they've won their titles as well. So you got to give them their due on that. So, but yeah, I think it was the question. I thought it was a good question from a media standpoint. What team is consistently out there the most, despite whatever their record is, at that time? So probably say the Lakers. So. And on that note,
it's not that actually osmosis. It's more obviously with the winning and Mahomes. The TV contracts is what gives all these teams value. And then if you own, and this is probably why they want to get another stadium or whatever, is that they want the value of the team to go up. And the more amenities you have in your arena, your stadium, the more your worth is. And Spanos, speaking of Spanos, Darren, I believe the person, I think there was a family situation going on there, and apparently one of the people that were involved won the case, or settled, and they're now going to have a piece of the Chargers. I'm going to be very curious to see what happens in the next 5 years with the Spanos' family and how that kind of materializes, because
you think they would move again, man?
I still have a dream. I have a dream that somehow someone with a half a brain buys the Chargers out and brings them back to San Diego.
They have that huge facility they just opened up, Joe. That's right down the street from the Lakers. I don't know if I don't know if you've seen it near El Segundo. Okay,
I haven't seen it.
It's
but
huge.
the Chargers belong in San Diego.
I didn't say they didn't, Joe. I'm just saying I don't think that they'll move back anytime soon.
Probably not, but it's just.
I didn't say I disagree with you. I think they do. I think they belong in San Diego.
There was a thought. This is not going to happen. It's being a billionaire is a 1 in a billion chance, right? But let's just say for some miracle in the next 5 years, I'm involved in some stock that makes me worth $5-6 billion. I would totally try and buy the Chargers and go build a stadium out in San Diego. That would be a. That would be the way to go.
Would the fans support it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They didn't want to support Spanos. They voted down to get the stadium built in downtown San Diego because of Spanos. He was fleecing the city of San Diego on all the seats at Qualcomm. So if the stadium didn't sell out, the city paid for the difference. And he'd been sucking them dry for years and years and years. And they finally said, you know what? Screw you, screw the NFL, screw Roger Goodell. It sucks that they lost the team, but they did it for the right reasons.
That is an excellent question, Jay. Tough So. He said, I hope there will be a special night for Jerry West from the Lakers. And I know they'll be doing a special night honoring, of course, as they raise Cooper's banner up in, I believe it's in January, if I remember correctly. I'm looking to see if they will do anything other than the patch, which Joe, I don't know if you remember that conversation, that rant Joe had about how they're honoring Jerry West this season.
Oh, you mean the patch that was the size of my thumbnail next to their stupid advertisement?
Bibigo, yes.
But we need to be positive, Gerald, because
we're old men
negative.
on the lawn.
We're negative.
October 22nd, just to let you know, they are giving away jerseys, Jerry West jerseys.
Everyone should be wearing number 44 in one of these games. Because that guy built this franchise 1960, folks. 1960, Jerry West arrived to LA. And the reason why there's relevancy with the Lakers and they are who they are is because of that motherfucker. That's where it started. That's the root. And
Yes.
that root built. He built it all.
But Tough, just to answer your question, on the 22nd, they will be having a Jerry West day. It's the game against Minnesota. For anyone who goes, I think we'll be getting a 44 jersey, I think, because they're giving white jerseys. I'm assuming that that's going to be given to, I don't know if it's select fans or the entire arena, but they will be giving white jerseys of 44. So it's something, Joe. It's something. But you and I have talked about over the years how they disrespected Jerry West right and left. And so it's still not going to help the overall situation. So. All right, everyone. I think we can call it a night. 2.5 hours in. We gave you more Lakers Fast Break, gearing you up for training camp. We'll see if tomorrow and throughout the coming days, if JHS will again be the MVP of training camp. If the same old scenarios happen, and then we lead you into Friday's exhibition game against, well, of course, it's against Minnesota as well, and in Palm Springs, I believe. So, yeah, so you're going to get a good load of Lakers basketball in the coming days. Joe, training camp is here. The NBA season is on the verge of starting in a month. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
Good luck.
Okay. Take your son to work day was today. Wonder if the Lakers enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Darren said, "Yeah, let's see JHS get some confidence. I would like him not to be a laughingstock anymore. I would like to see him become a competent NBA player. I would love him to shut Joe and I up. You know, I would love Rodell to have the opportunity to email us back about how Max is this and Max is improved and whatnot. We want to be proven wrong on the Maxes and the JHSs of the world. So please, it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to be cheering for the Lakers to win.
That's what we want. Despite what some of you say and what some of you think out there. So we'll leave it at that.
What is the guess for game one? What are the chances Bronny was conceived at a freak off?
No, I'm not always right.
If that was the case, then that's,
my correct statement, Darren, was that I'm more right on this channel than anyone. I did not say I'm always right. I never said that. I said I'm more right on this channel than anyone. And the proof is on the channel.
The proof is in your head.
Proof is on the channel.
No.
Yes. I could send you thousands of hours of tape that you would never watch from previous episodes throughout the years.
1 minute of it.
But I know you would never take the time to listen or
watch. I
will
never watch a single second of it.
Because I know how much you hate your voice.
I will never agree to it.
Yes, so I didn't say I was always right. You're mistaken on that. I said I am more right on this channel than anyone.
I will never, ever agree to disagree.
And we will go from there. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be back tomorrow for the opening of training camp. It's up to you guys. Keep insulting us. We're doing this for not a whole lot of money right now. So keep insulting us. Keep sending us all that hate. Keep sending us all that stuff. Keep insulting us. Keep at it. Because we're going to still be shooting at you honest and real. And if you don't like it, oh well. We're still going to be doing it anyways. Because according to some, we're just old men right there. Get off my lawn. So we'll leave it at that. But Lakers Fast Break will be back for more fun. Hopefully a little bit better chat room, more loving, more conducive to each other, and more respectful of us. Be great. We'll find out tomorrow as the training camp opens tomorrow right here on the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Shaq running the break. I missed that.
Thank you to all the new members. Thanks to Intel and Darren for the super chats. And thank you for watching the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.